Foxes came into my life at a young age. We used to have one that lived in our basement when I was growing up. Of course, it wasn't real. It was taxidermied. And I remember it clearly. It used to sit on the windowsill behind our TV in the basement. The story that I remember was it was my grandfather's, and he shot it on a hunting trip and gave it to my father. Now, I've asked my father about this story, and he didn't remember. So it still remains a mystery how we acquired it and why. I never paid it much attention, and it used to get random questions from new visitors to our house, but that was about the extent of it. I didn't even know what happened to it in the end. It's one of those things that just appears one day and disappears another, but you always remember it. So that was the start of foxes in my life. They have weaved their way in and out of my life ever since. Recently, I find them popping up symbolically everywhere. Just last month, I found myself crossing paths with a real fox twice. I shared one of the stories in a video a few weeks back. I was curious, if a fox is my spirit animal, what traits could I adapt into my life? This is what I learned. If the fox is your spirit animal, it teaches you to be adaptable, resourceful, and strategic in navigating life's challenges. Like the fox, you can embrace quick thinking and trust your instincts to solve problems with intelligence and creativity. It reminds you to observe carefully, balance independence with connection, and find joy in curiosity and playfulness. The fox's resilience encourages you to persevere through difficulties, while its ability to blend in teaches the value of discretion and timing. Ultimately, the fox inspires you to maximize your resources, embrace change, and approach life with confidence and grace. I have an obsession with things made out of wood, so naturally I love wooden boxes. I keep my eye out for them everywhere. I found this at a thrift store. It was not in great shape. I love a well-worn wooden box, but this one needed some rehab and love. We will be traveling back in time to the summer, which is when I started this project. I decided to strip the box of its many layers of paint by using oven cleaner. This was not my favorite part. It was messy and stinky, and I didn't like it, but it worked and it was fast. I then had to put some good old-fashioned muscle work into it by sanding the rest of the way and getting the rest of the paint off. This left it very pale and a bit lifeless looking, so I decided I would stain it to warm it up a bit. My inspiration for the next step comes from pearl inlaid furniture and boxes. I love the look of these, and I knew I wanted to create my own version. And with my new obsession with foxes, I wanted to include them in my design. I used a screenshot of some traditional inlay patterns and traced them in Adobe Illustrator to get the base of the design and then created some fox silhouettes to incorporate into them. I wanted to keep it simple, so I just placed them in a few key areas. Then I printed out the design to scale and placed them on the box to see if I needed to adjust anything. I was happy with the design, so the next step was to trace the design onto the box. I decided to use white carbon paper because I knew I wanted to paint the design with a cream color. The tracing was very meditative, and I enjoyed it very much. I was surprised how well the white carbon showed up, but it was subtle enough that I didn't have to worry about covering every last bit. This next step is where, if I could go back in time, I would put a big warning label that said, "Proceed with caution. You are about to make a big mistake." As an artist, I have amassed a large amount of artist supplies. And this past year, I put a challenge on myself to use what I have instead of buying more. I must say, it has made this year of creating a pure joy. I love using things that have been sitting idle for years, just waiting for the perfect moment I needed it. Well, the paint I used on this project was old, and I believe past its prime. It was like using watered down paint. Most of my strokes were transparent, and therefore I had to paint everything twice. You can see here the left side has 2 coats and the right side has 1 coat. So if I had to do it over, I would for sure buy a new tube of paint. I love form and function when it comes to items in my space. So this box, with its new lease on life, can be proudly displayed. I want to ask you your opinion about whether I should antique it with dark wax. I really like how it looks now, but something is telling me that a little dark wax will make it look like it's been around for decades and lived a very interesting life. Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to live with it for a while before I do anything. Thanks so much for spending time with me, and I hope you're having a great week. See you next time. I've made a gift for you, and you can find it on my website, janlakey.com. It's a video with my top 5 tips for creating AI reference art. I've learned a lot through this process, and I think this video will help anybody who's just getting started using AI, or somebody who's already using AI and having trouble getting the results that they want. So go on over to my website and get your free gift.